Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Art Alliance for Contemporary Glass Friday Zoom meetup. We have a very special program for you today, our Community Spotlight Series. But before I get to that, I just wanted to mention if you are new to our Friday programming, we actually have programs every Friday, and many of them are exclusive for members only. So if you'd like to go to our website, aacgglass.org, you can join, and then you'll have access to not only all of our Friday programs, but all of those programs get uploaded into a private video library for our members. So you can access them anytime. And we do have special membership rates for students and artists as well. Okay, so now I'd love to get to our exciting program that we have today, the Community Spotlight Series. And this series features individuals who highlight the many ways that glass can heal and transform lives. It takes us beyond the object that we collect to understand the power of this material and the importance of raising its visibility in the broader community. Today, we have with us internationally recognized artist Kazuki Takizawa, and he uses glass as a means to explore his inner reality and destigmatize mental illness. It has also given him an avenue to teach and to travel the world to act as an advocate for mental illness, opening discussions on the role that art plays in increasing awareness and helping those healing from trauma. All right, so I'd like to go ahead now and introduce Kazuki. Please go ahead.
Hi everyone, it's so nice to see you guys here. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm very excited to meet with you guys here via Zoom. My name is Kazuki Takizawa. I am a Japanese artist, but I reside in Los Angeles, California. And I own a studio called KT Glassworks. It's a glass blowing studio where we do custom fabrication work in glass, and we also do events and teach classes here, glass blowing lessons. And I also make my work, sculptures and installations. And for my work in glass, I mainly speak about mental health. And so yeah, today I'm gonna be going over um, uh, my past work and wanted to introduce the journey that I've been having via making of glass. Yes. So give me a second, I'll share my screen. Okay. All right. So this is the studio. It's a 2,000 square foot glass blowing studio, and we have equipment from canned heat equipment for a really awesome equipment furnace maker and equipment maker located in Portland, Oregon. And we have a lot of people come through here. A lot of people experience glass for the first time. And like I said, we do corporate events and and then we work on custom projects. A lot of lighting products for lighting designers, or I get to collaborate with other contemporary artists, furniture makers, all kinds of different people. And I can't express how much I have, how much gratitude I have for everybody who's been here at the studio. This is David and Deshawn here. But yeah, there's so many more people here who are just making this kind of community, um, and we're able to do what we're doing over here. So I want to thank everybody who's here first. Um, I love Venetian techniques. So I think today you will see a lot of techniques that are Venetian inspired. Um, this was a project we got to do for a restaurant called Uchi in West Hollywood here in LA. We made the brass components as well, and it was inspired by cherry blossom. Um, so yeah, this is me, my brother, and my parents. I grew up in Hong Kong. Mostly, I was born in Hong Kong, but I was born to I'm born, I'm Japanese. My parents are from Tokyo and Saitama, and behind us is the apartment complex that we I grew up in. There was, I think, 30 floors, and then um, I think there were like maybe I don't know 12 of these same buildings in this apartment complex. So it's very tight space, busy city, but we love going to nature, doing nature things, and that definitely affects my work. Um, sorry about that. All right. Yeah, and then for high school, I went to Thailand, Bangkok, Thailand, and then my lifestyle really, really changed from being in a really busy city to much more, spread out and lots of space, lots of tropical fruits, and lots of nature. And the pace of living was really different over there as well. Okay. Okay. The reason why I wanted to show you those images is because I grew up in Hong Kong and Thailand, and then in those days, I was mostly speaking Japanese, and I started learning English when I was in high school, or actually middle school, sorry. So language has always been a big barrier for me. And when I went to school at the University of Hawaii to study glass and um, art just became a really natural outlet for my for for myself, like and it was like almost like a new language that I found, and I felt like that was a really really cool experience. So I've at the university I've experimented with a lot of different medium, which was really great. I got to work with metal as well as stone and like small scale like metal casting, all these different mediums that gave me a great survey of working with different material. And I think what I was drawn to was expressing emotions through different mediums, and just kind of um, testing the boundaries of material, and seeing how different textures and different movements and form expressed different qualities of emotions. And this is the time when yeah, at school, when I started finding out a little bit more about myself. This is a self-portrait piece that has on the form, there's like a face, a second face that's being submerged into this black water. And this whole metal structure is made to swing sideways. And so it was just a kind of a good piece to talk about my emotional state at the time. I was staying up a lot at night to finish off projects, and then my mental health wasn't getting um, it wasn't so great. And I was recommended by a friend to go see a therapist. And that's when I really started learning about myself and learning about mental health and about depression as well. And so I found out that I live with bipolar disorder and type 2 bipolar disorder, which is characterized by having episodes of depression as well as hypomania. which is like um, time when you have bursts of energy, and the tendency is to have you know lots and lots of ideas, hard to sleep, um, things like that. And so to me, from coming from an Asian background, like I didn't even know what depression was like. And so from not knowing anything about mental health to actually learning about myself every week, going to therapy was a really empowering experience. And it really, I think, is staying like the core value of my work. At certain point in when I was, living by myself in Hawaii, I started being drawn to these like seashells forms, and then how really vibrant their colors are. And I saw that, kind of a similarity between people. Somehow sometimes I feel like I see people put like an invisible barrier around them, and how that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's an element of protection, I feel like. And as humans survive, I think we all need elements of protection. But I just saw that it's really beautiful, how each of us can be so different from one another, yet communicating with each other and supporting each other. So I was really drawn to forms of seashell. This is a piece called Auric Shelter, and it was installed at the University of Hawaii during the finals week. I wanted to create a space where somebody can go into kind of like a safe space where it's protected. I started learning about how colors can affect your emotions, and the colors were selected by um, uh, yeah, like theories of chromotherapy. Apparently, colors like purples and blues and greens are used in the beginning parts of chromotherapy. And so I was just fascinated by all these new things that I was that I started learning that really can change your mental health. And sometimes I feel like it's the childhood memories that shape my creation. That's my brother and I in Hong Kong. This is a movie called My Neighbor Totoro, and it's a really great movie if anybody has never seen it. It's a movie from Studio Ghibli. Um, but in this movie, in this scene, the characters are bowing and kind of paying respect to this really old tree that's in the neighborhood. And in this really old tree, there's this Shintoism ornamentation, like decoration, which celebrates the deity that resides within this really old tree. And so when I ask myself every time, like, why do I keep making what I make in glass and other medium? I'm not religious, but I feel like some beliefs from my upbringings kind of play part in and kind of reside within the objects that I make. So you see these decorations everywhere in Japan. But when I started making these goblets, um, I wanted to give the objects some life to them. So naturally, because I had some barriers with language growing up, I looked to nature as inspiration to communicate like the qualities and feelings, and I just wanted to give objects some more life. And here, I'm very, like earlier I said, I'm very interested and drawn to the traditional glassblowing style of Venetian glassblowing style. So you would see that in different components of these goblet-like sculptures. But then you will see things like shells, which might give you the feeling of kind of being more um, I don't know, like protective. Um, Wings might give you a feeling of like freedom or the ability to go from one place to another. And just a little tilt might give you a little different feeling. And so I wanted to explore these kind of qualities and just kind of celebrate um, objects and what that object may mean to contain. I really absolutely love the using glass because of the ability to make vessels. And sometimes as a person who is diagnosed with bipolar disorder, I feel like I'm a vessel of emotions. And yeah, and I just love color. And so I've made this is my container series work. It's my I think my oldest series of work that I'm still making. In 2015, I've had the experience of helping my younger brother who currently lives in Tokyo. But at the time, he was going through a really tough time in his life. And specifically, he was experiencing pretty severe suicidal ideation. And he's super healthy now and very, you know, I feel like he's very accomplished so much in his way. But that week of experience of me getting together with my parents to go and help him and be with him, I was like really sketching out this one form that was a really off-centered vessel. And I made a whole bunch of these vessels at a place called Starworks in North Carolina and made an installation. So here's a video of that.
We aren't hearing the sound, Kazuki.
Uh, I think if you wait a little bit longer,
Oh, sorry.
mhm. Okay, so that was like a 3-minute video of the performance I made with all these glass pieces that were broken at top and off-centered, and they, over the course of 90 minutes or so, the water started filling the vessels, and then some vessels collapsed, and then actually at the end, most of the vessels uh, uh, kind of fell down, and but I really, from the experience of helping my family member go through a tough time, I got to learn about suicide. And I know this might be a difficult subject to talk about, but I felt the need to start speaking about it because we lose way too many people to suicide. And I feel like the media doesn't do enough of a job to kind of, um, yeah, create awareness on this public health matter, really. And statistically, the domino effect that you saw is very true. If you lose somebody to suicide within your circle, you are statistically likely to, die by suicide. And so I really felt like I needed to do something about it. And so that was 2015. And this was kind of the pivotal moment when I started speaking about my diagnosis with bipolar disorder, and yeah, really started to focus my class and journey into mental health. And yeah, this next piece is kind of a sequel. It's the still the breaking the silence installation pieces. So this one also actually physically makes sounds. And this piece has traveled to a few different places, but the forged metal part is it's loosely inspired by a single brushstroke of a circle. And in this particular piece, I wanted to make an incomplete circle. I feel like the missing piece, in my opinion, was the conversation that's surrounding around the topic of suicide. And I feel like the more people talk about it freely, um, the more we can help those people who are in need or in a critical situation. With suicide, my understanding is that I've got to volunteer as a lifeline counselor a little bit, and from there, what I learned is that if you have somebody who is in a critical situation, and if you're able to be next to that person or kind of lend their hand, I don't know, be in the moment with that person, whatever that may be, that to help that person go through that critical moment and kind of um, allow that to calm down. That's an empowering act of helping. And the most important thing is that we rely on that person's willingness to live in order to kind of do their part in staying healthy, and learning about all these different things they can do to um, keep themselves healthy. But I just wanted to mention that how powerful it is for those people who are in need, if anybody's around that person. So yeah, that was something I felt very special about through that experience of helping my family member go through a tough time. So I think in order to stay healthy in mental health, I think that there's a lot of components that go through it to live a healthy lifestyle. And as a um, this series of work called Minimalist Series is um, it contains lots and lots of intricate black and white lines, and I wanted to express what what it is, like all the decision makings and all the complexity that we go through that are intertwined and hard to separate. All those things I wanted to express in a simple form, and this is a kind of my I started making these pieces when I got introduced to the lifestyle of minimalism, and um, I, I I really love the idea of creating space within whether it be physical space or mental space. But I feel like there's a lot of decision making that has to happen, whether you want to throw away an object or keep an object. It's a black and white decision that it's really complex, and I feel like that is uh, sometimes that's the kind of work that we have to do in order to kind of maintain our health. And so uh, in our audience today, we have Duncan McClellan from Duncan McClellan Gallery, and he has a few of these pieces in his gallery in the background of his video. So if you're ever in Florida, St. Pete area, please visit him. He has a really beautiful gallery there and amazing team and hot shop. It's a really cool place to visit. Um, but again, really, I'm really drawn to like the pattern making, which is very much like Venetian, cane work and Marini's. So yeah, I'm really excited about trying new patterns within the glass, the wall of glass, using black and white color canes. This was a piece installed at the Craft Contemporary Museum when I did a show back in 2021. And also in that exhibition was my Guardian series work. And I feel like we all need protection and we all need guardians kind of next to us and in our journey. And so I made cast concrete pedestals that are matching in color with these series of work. And these were in the entrance area and the exhibit at the Craft Contemporary Museum in Los Angeles. But for these ones, I wanted to incorporate elements of protection like horns, like shingles from houses, like roofs, and like lids are also protection of elements of protection, feathers, hats. I feel like what we wear also is an important part of our identity, and it's also an element of protection. This piece, Stopper Driven, talks a little bit about like the tendencies that a person with who's living with bipolar can have. The episodes, the bursts of energy, the bursts of color, the mania or the hypomania phase where you see vivid colors, and how that may sound exciting, but how that can be very destructive if you don't control it. And so the colorful stoppers are the actual stoppers that are kind of keeping the vessel contained in these garden of stopper driven installation. On the floor is a nest made with lots and lots of paper cranes, handheld paper cranes that were donated by the community. we did a couple of outreach programs during the lockdown. And the program was intended to use our hands and keep moving our hands to kind of stay on top of our mental health. And so we made a really big nest out of these beautiful handheld paper cranes that were held by the community, and we hand dyed them in the studio here. In Japanese culture, we gift a bundle of 1,000 paper cranes that families fold to people who's like recovering from a surgery, like in the hospital, or in special occasions that you want to make a wish, grant a wish come true. And so, and there's a sense of community yeah, when you fold paper cranes, I think in Japanese culture. Okay, so this is the last slide that I'm gonna share last installation that I'm gonna share with you today. It's called In Between Light and Shadow. And I think it represents the whole the type of work that I'm doing in this installation. Um, which is like I'm talking about these things that are very invisible, like mental health, suicide, depression, different coping, like lifestyle choices, coping mechanism, and all these things that are really difficult to see until you talk about it and shed light onto the subject matter. And so it's like the glass shards that are in this piece. In the daylight, they're really hard to see. They're difficult to see. When you cast a shadow in these on these like almost invisible like paper thin shards, they become really dramatic, and then um, yeah, and they're each glass was moving and being affected by any like all the movements in the air within that in the installation space. And so this was probably it was a really meaningful piece to me. Um, so So yeah, I think there was 1,100 shards at the end, and we drilled 2 holes in these each shards, and then we hung them um, from the ceiling. This was installation installed at the Starworks Glass in North Carolina, where I was doing a glass residency there. Um, really thin shards, and it was really great. Like one person closed the door on the other side of the warehouse, and then that was enough to create a wave of wind that um, really moved all of like a lot of the shards, and it really made me kind of focus my attention and bring my awareness back down to like and then to quiet myself down, which is a really great like um, yeah, experience to have. So thank you so much. I appreciate you guys being here. And if you guys have any questions, this is my last slide. And I also want to thank my younger brother who's always been for me and who's always allowed me to talk about his experience. And if you'd like to check out his pet sitting service in Tokyo, he has an Instagram with Taki Pet Sitter. That's his handle. So if you guys can, yeah, check it out and send them a message, he'd really, really appreciate that. But yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Kazuki. Wonderful presentation. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about some of the experiences you've had traveling and talking about mental health.
Sure. In the beginning, it was terrifying. Um, I started talking about my diagnosis with bipolar disorder I asked a friend of mine, Courtney, and I asked her what she thought of the idea of, talking about this in my presentation, and she said, you should do it. But I really it took a lot of yeah, momentum to start talking about it, but the experience has been really positive, and it's really I think the most part that I feared was that I'm going to like lose the opportunity to work for certain people, and in glass, and I don't know why. I think that might have been kind of irrational thoughts, but I think it's perfectly normal to have irrational thoughts when you have fear involved. And so that was kind of my experience. And I, on a few occasions, people have asked me specific questions that relates to helping their family member or themselves going through some things. And in my best way, I try to, give my opinion on things, but I always like to remind people that I'm not a mental health professional. And always the best case is to seek, if you haven't done so, seek professional help. And then there's also a suicide hotline, which is a really great resource for people who are going through a tough time, and um, as well as the family member who are just looking for information in the local area.
And was there something about glass in particular that you were drawn to, or was it really just about sort of a creative outlet and looking to art in general, and then sort of becoming a little bit more focused in glass as you went along? Because I saw that you did metal work in your some of your installations as well.
Yeah, I think I stuck with glass just because I really love the process, and how I get to work with the team every day and listen to music while working. I just love the community of glass, and how everybody is just so like welcoming, and really like inspiring. But besides that, I think just the properties of glass, how things can be transparent as well as opaque, and things can really like violently break, and parts of the process sometimes is very tedious and meticulous, like lining up and cutting those marinis. Uh, and other times it can be very fluid and very spontaneous. And I think that's the part that I um, really love.
That kind of ties in with another question that just came in, which is someone wondering if you could describe a little bit about the methodology you use in creating your minimalist vessels.
Sure. So the original pure like core inspiration was like my thought of thinking to myself like, wow, wouldn't it be nice to be able to live a simple lifestyle and have a simple appearance? But as an artist, I think it's really difficult. No, not really difficult, but sometimes it can be very difficult to do that. As you can see, I like to collect a lot of things. I like to have material laying around in the corner of my studio just in case I need to use that for something a few years from now. But what it came down to, the inspiration was that there's certain level and certain balance that I have to maintain in order to maintain my health. And so the minimalist pieces started out with that. And technique wise, um, all the lines and the patterns are, blown, and they're in the walls of the glass, and they're colored glass that we individually stretch here at the studio. And so we will start from stretching the black and white canes, and we can bundle them or use them in different ways to um, make new patterns. And I always try to take time to experiment. And a lot of times what experiment looks like is failure. failure, and then you select like a really good things that come out of it. And so I always try to take time to do that.
Right. And one more question. Can you talk about your journey of learning to accept your condition and learning to function with such a difficult diagnosis?
Yeah, and so I think I've managed my health. I've been managing my health pretty well. I'm a happy guy. I have two kids at home, and but yeah, I've had my fair shares of struggles and my doubts. Like, is it possible for me to have kids, or is it possible for me to own a studio? But I I think the question, I think the answer that I always keep coming back to is that I don't want to have the label kind of define who I am. And so um, it so overall, I think that being an artist and um, being like living with bipolar disorder, I guess. I think I've learned to prioritize my health, the top priority, no matter how much deadline or what, no matter how much I'm needed somewhere else. Because if I'm not healthy, then I'm not functioning, and that's not going to work out very good. So I think that's the most uh, kind of like the core belief that I stick to.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, lastly, I can't help but notice all of the beautiful work that you have behind you there. I was wondering if you wanted to pick up a piece or two and just bring it to the camera so that people can kind of get an
Yeah.
in view instead of looking at a photo.
So this one is one of the pieces that were in the photograph. It's got a pattern, like cane pattern using alabaster. Actually, it's not a full opaque white, but it's very subtle. But I think I hope that it brings people in and wanting to look at the detail of the work.
Beautiful.
It's really cool if yeah, if you look through it, and there's lots of details on this. So yeah,
Beautiful piece. Thank you.
yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording now. And Kazuki and guests, if you'd like to stay on and just unmute yourself and talk to Kazuki directly, you can do that. So thank you again, Kazuki, for just a really powerful program. Your work is so creative and so important. And again, if you are new to our programming, please visit aacgglass.org to check out our member benefits and to join. All right.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.